Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the webinar on information session on higher studies opportunities under Chevening Scholarship Program, organized by International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya in collaboration with British High Commission Colombo and International Interaction Club of University of Peradeniya. It is 10 a.m. and we are about to start the program. I'm Shamali Thenapon from the International Relations Office, and I'm happy to be your host in today's program. The objective of today's program is to provide you information regarding the higher studies opportunities under Chevening Scholarship Program funded by the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Please be kind to post your questions in the chat section below, and we are happy to answer them as much as possible. First, I would like to invite Professor Chevening Jinadasa, Director, International Relations Office, University of Peradeniya, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Shamali. Hope you can hear me. Right. So we had some kind of technical issue in the Zoom in our university system. Sorry for the inconvenience. So we are trying to sort it out. Yesterday also we had some issue because of the so many users in the Zoom, in the Learn network. We had some issues and we will try to sorry for the delay in the start of the program. So webinar on information session on higher studies opportunities under Chevening Scholarship Program, organized by International Office in collaboration with British High Commission and International Interact Club at University of Peradeniya. So I'm very much thankful for the British High Commission and Ms. Ayuni Munasinghe, Communication Manager and Chevening Office Sri Lanka, for your support and initiative to bring this program. So I'm sure this will be just a start of our communications for the sharing information, and more information we will be able to get from you, which will be benefited for our students and staff in the future. So on the other hand, we have Mr. Dinuki Hasara, the President of International Interaction Club. You may know that International Interaction Club is the student arm of our International Relations Office to bring all the communications to students about the opportunities and link with the foreign students and the help of who are visiting scholars or students with the connection with the International Interaction Club. So without taking much time, I would like to welcome you all, the participants, for the today's program, and thankful for the university, the Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, and all the other authorities for providing this opportunity for the approvals to conduct this program, and the Ms. Ayuni Munasinghe and the team that you are coordinating with the British High Commission, and the Ms. Dinuki Hasara, the President of the International Interaction Club, with her group that's supporting this program. So welcome for the program, and I wish that a very nice program which will be beneficial for all the university students of University of Peradeniya and other students as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite our resource person, Ms. Ayuni Munasinghe, Communications Manager and Chevening Officer, Sri Lanka, British High Commission, to conduct the information session. Ms. Ayuni, over to you.
Thank you, Shamali, and thank you, Mr. Jinadasa. Hi, everyone. No problem with the technical difficulties. That is definitely expected in the virtual world. So to make things easier, rather than me talking for 20 minutes, we have a small presentation that you might like seeing more than this. Let me just put this on full screen. So it's a very short presentation, but it will cover a lot of. Can someone confirm that you can see the screen, and hopefully in full screen?
Yes. We can see.
Okay, so Chevening Scholarships. Thank you very much to the University of Peradeniya for letting us do this session. We are well into the opening application.
The screen appears that the two windows, I think.
Oh, okay.
The presentation mode.
Is that better?
Yes, great. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So Chevening Scholarships are the UK government's flagship scholarship program. It is aimed at one-year masters for anyone interested in applying. So I will go through the criteria, the eligibility, and what is sort of expected of the Chevening Scholarships and how it's sort of different from the other scholarship programs as well. So what are Chevening Scholarships? It's the UK government's global scholarship program. It's available in 160 countries worldwide. And it is a one-year, it's an opportunity to study a one-year master's degree in any subject at any UK university. So one of the questions that we have a lot is whether we focus on specific subjects like science or health or medicine or engineering. But the beauty of Chevening Scholarships is that it's open to anyone. So for example, this year we have, for the first time in Sri Lanka, we have 13 scholars going, which is the biggest number we had for over the past 30 years. And they're all studying very different subjects. Nobody's studying the same subject. So we have someone who's studying artificial intelligence, another one who's studying sports medicine, social development, social anthropology. So the subject areas are very varied. So there is no barrier in the subject that you can choose to pick. In addition, when they say at any UK university, sometimes you might think that a lot of universities are not included, but that's not true. There's quite a plethora of universities that you can actually choose from. Chevening has a partnership with almost 90% of the UK's universities to host Chevening Scholars. Who should apply? This is why I'm here, to encourage all of you to consider Chevening as an option going forward. So Chevening Scholarships are aimed at future leaders, influencers. They are not, the difference between Chevening Scholarships and another scholarship is that it is not just a scholarship. It is a stepping stone to help you become a leader or an influencer, or to use your networks for the development of your country. So one of the pre-requirements of Chevening is that you are required to come back to your home country after for a period of 2 years after you're done with your master's. And the reason being that when we interview you or when we look at your application, one of the things that we ask is, what is your career plan? And this could be in any field, right? But what we want to know is, what are you going to learn in the UK and bring back to your home country to develop or to help or to support in any way? It could be policy, it could be starting your own organization, it could be networking, it could be bringing projects, it could be just continuing with the work that you're doing. So we have a lot of scholars who come back and become lecturers and academics in the university field. They come back and they set up their own organizations. So there are no constraints as to what is possible with a Chevening Scholarship. So eligibility criteria, it is not a long list. It's actually very short. There's only 4 main criteria. The first one is that you have to be a citizen of a Chevening eligible country. We are a Chevening eligible country, so you just need to be a citizen of Sri Lanka. You need to have an undergraduate degree. That is a must. There is no grade, like we don't say pass or fail, but there is a accepted 2.1, I think, one that you can check. It sometimes changes from year to year, but an undergraduate degree. You have to have at least 2 years of work experience. But the good part is this could be part-time work, it could be voluntary work, it could be internships. So it's open for possibilities as well. And you have to not have previously received UK government funding to study in the UK. So what we do encourage is for undergraduates or even graduates to consider the Chevening Scholarship. And if you are not looking to do your master's yet, but you know this is an option and you can work towards it. So we have had so many scholars in the past who have learned about the Chevening Scholarship in their 2nd, 3rd year in uni and kind of worked their way to kind of, this is what I want to achieve, and, applied for a Chevening Scholarship then. Okay, Okay, so what does the Chevening Scholarship cover? This is my favorite part, actually. It covers almost everything. So usually what we do like to say is that when you go on the scholarship, you are not expected to have any expenses of your own. The Chevening fully covers your tuition fees. There is a monthly living allowance that is given to you, and you receive a flight to and from Sri Lanka. Additional grants to cover essential expenditure includes any events that Chevening organizes, any university events that might fall into that category. So over the years, I'll cover it a bit in a while, where Chevening organizes a lot of university events and Chevening Scholar events as well. So next one. Okay. So what else does a Chevening Scholarship offer apart from monetary value as well? So this is where Chevening sort of differs from some of the other scholarships. One of them is that, you know, as Chevening scholars, you are privy to a lot of events, a lot of functions, a lot of networks that you wouldn't be as another scholar or as a normal international student. Chevening themselves organize a lot of functions, a lot of events that you can be a part of. Sometimes it is field dependent. So if you are in the arts field and they organize a trip somewhere, you know, relevant to art students or to the courthouses for law students. But there are also opportunities where everyone gets together and, you know, Chevening sort of recommends networking with across globally. So on graduating, you will be joining an alumni of over 50,000 globally. And that is, you know, everyone that has received the Chevening Scholarship since its inception 30 years ago. But in Sri Lanka, you will be joining an alumni cohort of about 200, 250. It's been growing over the past few years. They formed their own association and they're doing some wonderful work in different provinces. They're doing a mentoring program to help potential applicants with their applications, with their interviews, etc. So what else does Chevening Scholarship offer? Now, unfortunately, because of COVID, there have been some barriers in scholars attending exclusive opportunities, but that hasn't stopped Chevening from trying to organize virtual events and also safe-spaced kind of gatherings. So over the past years, pre-COVID, we've had people intern at the BBC, different volunteering opportunities, relay, Chevening relay competitions. So the events that they organized are not just academic in nature. It kind of caters to everything, to promote networking among the different regions. And as you can see from the picture, there is a wide variety of scholars that come together from one university. So even if you're not at the same university as your peers from your own country, you get to meet Chevening scholars in your own university from other countries. And they come back. When you come back, it's a very strong bond you form regionally. And we've had several instances where regional Chevening scholars have actually launched projects together. So for example, the Asia Pacific Chevening scholars launched a program. The South Asia Chevening scholars were planning to launch a program just before COVID. And they're still going ahead with it, hopefully soon. So the opportunities are always available. Chevening alumni community. So since the program has been running since 1983, the alumni community really are the backbone of us. So we do a lot of information sessions like this. We talk, we kind of disseminate it from high commissions and embassies around the world, but it doesn't have the same effect as you know, someone who received the scholarship talking. So you are more likely to see someone who speaks about the scholarship, who you know on your own social media feeds, than us. And also, I mean, I've never been a Chevening scholar, so I don't know the extent of the experience, but someone who has been on it will tell you, you know, how amazing it is, not just to study in UK, but to kind of go to university and experience all of that. And one of the huge benefits of Chevening is that because all of your expenses are covered, as an international student, you are not burdened with the financial aspect of, looking for your end of a month, to pay for your accommodation, to eat, to drink, to kind of go out, or to even buy your books, because all of that is covered, because the emphasis on Chevening is to study, to learn, and to enjoy and network during your time in the UK, to bring back those learnings and everything that you gained during that 1 year to your own home country. So, notable Chevening alumni from Sri Lanka, we have a huge database of them. So I've picked names that you might actually know. Some of you might have heard of Vinya Aryaratna, Sarvodesha Madana Movement, former Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranayake, currently at the Presidential Secretariat Jivanti Senanayake, and human rights advocate Ambika Satkunanathan as well. So these are some Chevening alumni over the years, over the past 30 years, that have gone on the scholarship, come back, and as you might know, are doing great work in Sri Lanka. But I know that as undergraduates or as university students, having been one myself, seeing very famous faces can be very intimidating. So I've made this much easier by including in people that you might actually know. So these are actually scholars and alumni from recent years. So Sachinda Dulanjana and Tharindu Samaratunga, Aisha Nazim, they're all current scholars in the UK. You can follow them on social media. They've been posting actively about their Chevening journey. I think some of them are visiting lecturers in some local universities. Nalanga Hetiarachi, visiting lecturer, she is a scholar this year. She will be going to University of Oxford. And two alumni also known in the local university field is Umesh Mormudali, currently a lecturer at University of Colombo, and Senel Vaniarachi, the co-founder of one of Sri Lanka's leading movements, #Generation. So these are hopefully some known faces. 3 of them are currently on the scholarship. 1 of them is going in a few weeks, and 2 of them just came back about a year or so ago, and they're all doing great work in their field. But one thing that they've all said is how much the Chevening Scholarship, the networks, have sort of helped them and given them the confidence to kind of come back and do better and more things as they go along. So very simply, the application and selection timeline. The application, the intake for applications opened on 3rd August, and it will close on 2nd November. I will go through what an application actually entails in a bit. So just listed in front of you are just, the dates of how things are sorted. So the applications are sifted and graded by our secretariat in London. It's an independent reading committee every year that assesses them. And if you are shortlisted, you will be notified in February, March, and we will call you for an interview from March to April. You will be announced as a scholar or as a reserve in June, and then in September, in mid-September, early October, we give you permission to fly off and start your master's in the UK. So with this, I encourage all of you to, if you are still very early on in your studies, to start thinking about applying for a scholarship. This is a huge opportunity. I mean, most of the time we say, because of finances, but in addition to finances, the network that you accumulate is huge with Chevening, the recognition, the brand that comes with being a Chevening scholar. So applications are now open. You can visit the website, chevening.org, #apply. You will find everything you need to know about applications, about timelines, about eligibility on the website. Fortunately, the Chevening website is very detailed, but at the same time, it holds everything that you need to know as well. So the online application form. There's actually only 4 sections. So one of them focuses on leadership and influencing. Other one is on networking, which basically refers to what you are currently doing, what you plan to do as well, and how you plan to leverage your networks. The other one is studying in the UK. So before you apply, so when you're applying for the Chevening Scholarship, you have to have considered what universities, what courses you are going to apply for. And what we ask from that is that you tell us why you selected them. So for example, we had Naranga this year who selected 3 universities. University of Oxford was her first choice, and she selected 2 other universities, all in the field of law. But she explained one by one why she thought each of those courses were relevant. The reason being because there is, like I said, a lot of courses available as a Chevening Scholar. So you have to tell us why you didn't pick other courses over these 3. The most important one, as someone on the panel, for me, the most important one is actually career plan. So we would like to know what your career plan is. So this is where you tell us why a Chevening Scholarship will benefit you. So we have a lot of people who leverage the alumni network going forward in their work, but we also have a lot of people who bring back the learnings from their 1 year in the UK, whether it's academic, whether it's practical, and they use that. They do their research and they say, you know, here's my plan for it. So the reason why questions are framed in these 4 categories is because these are the defining features of a Chevening Scholar. We expect you to be a leader, not expect, but we want you to be a leader. And when we say influencing, we don't mean, you know, having 2,000 followers on Instagram. That's not influencing, well, not technically. But what we ask for is, you know, tell us if you have been a part of Road Track, if you have done something, you know, whether even in university, if you've helped with getting funding, or if you've done a project, if you've done anything in your workplace. These are all examples of leadership. So leadership, when we say explain leadership or give us examples, it doesn't mean, you know, tell us about a time that you led a team. It's not just that, but the example of leadership, the definition of it is quite vast in this sense. Okay, so Chevening on social media, very active. Their website is www.chevening.org. On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, they go as @Chevening FCDO. On LinkedIn, they go as Chevening Awards. If you are planning to apply for a scholarship, I do encourage you to follow them on social media because they do put up a lot of tips, a lot of FAQs, a lot of things you don't really find available on the website, you know, when it's nearing application time, when they're trying to get students to apply. Because what they do is they give you top tips, you know, things that the assessors who look at applications look for. You know, they just do like a short, fun video, or they have scholars who are currently in the UK kind of giving examples of, you know, life in the UK and what helps, what doesn't help. So those little tiny, you know, those fun stuff that you don't really get from, you know, reading a website is all available on the Chevening social media pages. So, apply now if you are interested in a scholarship, but if you are still looking to work and then apply, as you can still read up and consider it. Chevening will always be open. There was a time we thought that it would close due to COVID last year, but fortunately the UK government thought it was important to engage with international students. I have also listed the social media pages for British High Commission Colombo. So on Twitter and Instagram, we go as @UK in Sri Lanka, and on Facebook, we are the British High Commission Colombo. The reason why I have included our social media is not because I would like you to like our pages, but because we upload a lot of content from our own scholars, our own alumni. So over the next month, if you look at our channels, you will see us uploading content from our current scholars who are in the UK, the ones that are leaving now, who are getting ready to leave for the scholarship, and also our alumni who have been on the scholarship, you know, talking about their experiences and kind of encouraging why they thought that Chevening was a great idea. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Let me just check the chat bar for any questions. And yes, okay. So let me just start from the top, yeah? Okay. All right. Okay, do we have to have work experience in the same field that we're going to apply for masters? It's not required, but we do encourage you to have work experience from that same field. The reason being because we want to ensure that you're not going to do your master's and go work in another field, because then your academic knowledge that you have gained would be, of no use sometimes if they are completely different fields. It does help to have work experience in similar fields, but if you can draw a link as to why you chose two different things, what interested you, that would help. So we have a filmmaker this year who's going, she works in making movies and videos, but she will be studying social anthropology. But she told us why she's studying social anthropology, because she plans to bring back that experience, kind of understanding the different social issues, etc., that come with it, to work with the civil society here. Okay, I'm currently following MSc. Yes, of course, you can apply. There's no limit as to how many masters or academic qualifications that you can have. But we do encourage you, make sure that you finish your education elsewhere as well. Is the degree transcript sufficient to apply? Yes, your transcript is actually sufficient to apply. We do not require you to upload your final, your certificate onto your application portal immediately, as long as you can have it before the interview stage, which starts in February, then that should be fine. Should the work experience, okay, I answered that. Do you offer scholarships for one-year research-based degrees? Degrees, no. Chevening is actually solely focused on masters. Sorry, is solely focused on masters, which is why having an undergraduate degree is a requirement. What we do encourage is, if you are interested in pursuing a more research-based masters, to look for universities and courses in the Chevening website that entail you to do that, rather than miss out on the opportunity. Check the universities whether their courses, their academics are more research oriented. Should we apply for the same study line in different universities? That is actually a very interesting question. So we actually had a scholar this year. He's actually going on the scholarship this year. He's a public education officer from Mullatil. And he had applied for education, but he had also applied for something in the medicine health field, which completely confused us, because we were like, whoa, these are completely different. But what he did was he told us how learning about medicine and health was relevant to him as a public education officer. So if you can draw that distinction, that's completely fine. So there are people who apply for two very different things. And if you do get selected for the interview stage, we will definitely ask a question as to why. But if you can tell us how it's relevant to your work, why it's okay if you get selected for either, and what would happen if you get into both universities. So if you get selected for education and for health, what would you end up selecting? Then it's completely fine. Okay. It said that we have to come back to SL after, yeah, if we are continuing our studies. No. One of the requirements of Chevening is that you actually come back home after you study your master's, because the foundation of the Chevening Scholarship is based on educating and providing opportunities for the next generation of leaders and influencers in your country. So what we want to do is encourage people to study their masters and come back to their country and use that knowledge, those networks that they have gained to establish themselves here and to support their country. We have had scholars who have gone for their PhD after about 5 or 6 years as well, and who have come back. So the requirement is that you definitely do come back home after you finish your masters. Okay. I already have a vision. Okay, so same, if you are still waiting for your final degree certificate, you can still apply as long as you upload it before your interview, if you get selected for your interview stage. But you can definitely apply with your transcript. I think with COVID being a constant in our lives for the past 2 years, Chevening has kind of, that we are very flexible in accepting, different things as well. Is there an initial payment? No, with Chevening, if you are selected as a scholar, there is no initial payment that needs to get made. The application can be done online. Of course, if there is a university fee that needs to get paid, like a university application fee, that will have to be borne by the applicants themselves. Can MSc student apply for MPhil? No. You will have, there are MPhil options in the Chevening list of subjects that are available from universities. So if it falls within that 1 year, you can definitely apply for it. And yes, IELTS is compulsory. However, over the past year, Chevening tied an agreement with some universities where we take the university English, you do an English test or application test. We take that as your English test because it's difficult to kind of conduct for some people to get to IELTS centers. That has the IELTS requirement was lifted last year due to COVID, and it continued to this year. So if this current situation continues to next year, it won't be a requirement either. If a person already has a master's in Sri Lanka, yes, absolutely. Definitely, you can always apply. Like I said, there's no harm in doing 2 masters. But I think one thing that if you do get selected to the interview panel stage, the panel will ask is why you are doing 2 masters. Because masters is a huge thing to take on, from doing a dissertation to research to kind of your academics, etc. We would like to know why you are applying for a Chevening scholarship as well, again, to do a master's. Are there any PhD opportunities? Unfortunately not. This is a question that we get a lot, actually. There are no opportunities to do PhDs yet because it's a consistent question. I think Chevening is looking into it at some point. Unfortunately, because PhDs are lengthy in terms of duration, it's not possible right now to fund 4-year grants. But I would encourage you that if you are looking at PhD opportunities, to definitely look at research grants offered by universities, because there are some universities that have very specific subject research grants. So if what you're studying and if you, what you want to study falls in that category, definitely I would encourage you to go for it. So it'll take a bit of research, but you can definitely get one as well. Can we apply with 1-year work experience? Unfortunately not. 2 years is actually a must. The reason being because, I mean, like I said, the work experience parameters are they're not set. We don't say you have to have a full-time contract with a certain organization. It's not like that. Any experience, any work experience that you have counts. But what we'd like to see is that you have had some professional experience, because we don't want you just going from your undergraduate degree to your master's, because that actually defeats the purpose of doing a master's. A master's is supposed to help you in your professional field. It's supposed to give you skills and the professionalism necessary for kind of persevering in your field. So why we encourage 2 years is that, so you have worked, you know what you want. So for example, I've been working for about 7 years now now. And it was only about 4 years ago that I figured out what I really wanted to do. So for the first 4 years, you're a bit shaky, you know, you wonder what you're achieving with your life. But that's why we encourage 2 years, to make sure that this is something you actually want to do, rather than, you know, because what will happen is you'll work for 1 year and you'll think, oh, this is what I want to do. And then you'll do your master's and come back and then you'll be like, I want to change fields now, you know. So it's kind of to help that as well. Okay. What are the other forms of work experience which are considered? So volunteering, part-time work is definitely considered. We are aware that some students like to kind of go from graduation to kind of small work time, and then to masters to kind of fulfill employment requirements, because some jobs require you to have a master's. But we are aware that there are a lot of university students now in their 3rd, 4th year that begin internships or volunteering at organization. So those are definitely accounted for as well. More on this question is actually available in the Chevening website. I would definitely encourage all of you considering this to go check out the FAQ section of the website as well, because a lot of the frequently asked questions from us, we kind of feedback into the Chevening Secretariat in London, and they include them so that, you know, because almost all the questions, you know, are along the same lines. We want to make sure everyone has all the information. IELTS requirements. So right now, Chevening doesn't have an IELTS requirement. It might change because the UK situation has improved. However, it's a case-by-case basis for countries, because a lot of countries are still in a lockdown phase, and some people are finding it difficult to cross borders. It would depend on your university English requirement as well. So Chevening right now does not have an IELTS requirement, but it would depend on your university requirement. There's a program which consists of compulsory internship in UK. Yes, of course. We definitely encourage that. If you would like to do a program that has an internship in it, that's great. So we have a scholar this year, Radhik Vijay Surya. He's a doctor, and this is not a part of his program, but he asked for it to be a part of his program from his university, where he's going to go and intern with several doctors at the NHS. So he's going to be specializing in musculoskeletal medicine. It's a very difficult word, but he's going to be specializing in a very niche field. And he thought that, you know, learning practically from doctors in the UK was going to help him and complement his academic studies. So he set that internship up himself. But yes, we do definitely encourage this as well. In addition to this, I would also like to say there is a Chevening volunteer program. So once you start your life as a Chevening scholar for 1 year, Chevening lets you know about volunteering opportunities, and you can volunteer for a few hours every week. It's one to kind of build up your experience, to kind of, you know the lay of the land in the UK and get to know your own fields practically. So yes, definitely. I have a second class lower in my undergraduate. Yes, I think you are. I would recommend you to check the Chevening website. Last year it was accepted. I would think it is accepted this year as well. Do you offer scholarships for research masters? It depends on the research masters. When I say it depends on the research masters, if it is an accepted course from the Chevening website, from the Chevening, the list of universities and courses that they say yes to, then yes. Can we apply with a partial transcript if our degree is still not finished? No, you have to already have your undergraduate degree in order to apply for this. Okay, so I've answered those 2 questions. If we have a professional qualification and experiences, and if we do not possess it. Oh, that's actually an interesting one. Chirati. If we have a professional qualification experiences and if we do not possess an undergraduate degree, can we still apply? Attorney at Law of Sri Lanka. That's actually a very interesting question and something I'm unfortunately unable to answer, but I can definitely look into that and let you know, Cherathi. I'm not sure. We've had a lot of lawyers apply. So this year we have Chiranti Senanayaka from Law College and in the scholarship right now. Nalanga, as I mentioned, will be doing her LLM as well. This is definitely something I can look into and let you know. What age maybe? Oh, I love this question. I was waiting for this question. So one of the greatest things of Chevening is that there is no age bracket. You just have to fulfill the eligibility criteria. So which would obviously mean that you are post-university stage, but there's actually no age bracket. I would definitely like to tell you this story. We have a scholar right now in the UK who went last year. His name is Nishant Nagaratnam. He's a lawyer and worked in the Jaffna courts. And he has been applying for the Chevening Scholarship for the past 5 years. 5 years, and the first 2 times he was rejected, the second 2 times he was put on reserve, and the 5th time he got selected. It was quite a story for us to hear at the panel as well, because the panel differs every year. And we were very confused because, you know, the application is not easy to fulfill. You have to get your references in order, you know, your transcripts, and fill that application from the beginning because you can't repeat your application. And he said, you know, my wife just encouraged me to apply. And, you know, he got selected as a scholar and he's there now. So I would encourage all of you, your families, or anyone you think is keen. So this program is obviously definitely not just for you. If you have brothers or sisters or cousins or friends or partners, mothers or fathers who are looking for educational or academic opportunities, this is definitely something for anyone as well. So unfortunately, because of the optics of how Chevening is, and because masters is seen as something that only young people do, we have a large area of young people applying. When I say young, I mean under the age of 40. But we do encourage anyone who wants to apply for this scholarship to apply. So you, Yuresha, your question, you have to have work experience in order to apply for the scholarship. Okay, so the applications for the Chevening Scholarship, so this is to Yasara's question. First, we have to apply through the portal, right? Or we should apply to the respective universities concurrently. So both the application processes go together. Actually, it's not, you know, you fill Chevening and you don't have to do anything else, or you fill the university applications and say that you're applying for Chevening and that's it. You have to fill your Chevening application separately and your university application separately. Chevening is not privy to that university application, and that university is not privy to the Chevening application unless you get selected as a potential applicant. So once you fill your Chevening application, so the thing is, because some of the deadlines for university open after Chevening, a lot of people don't apply for their university till much later, till about November, December. Some people apply. This all depends on your university deadline, but your Chevening application is separate. So in your Chevening application, we will ask you your top 3 preferences for going into university. So you will have your number 1 preference and your number 2 and your number 3. So one of the good things is that, and something that's come in very handy globally for us to make sure that our scholars go, is that sometimes there are people who unfortunately get rejected from their first 2 choices. But having that 3rd option, because it's compulsory that you have 3 options, make sure that if you are a scholar and you were rejected from your university, but you were finally accepted from your last preference, you still get to go on the scholarship. So there have been instances, unfortunately, where students have received acceptance into the Chevening Scholarship, but they have not been selected into their universities. So when you are selecting your universities, which is why I said drawing that link between your work, between your academics is very, very important. Okay. Right. I see there's a lot of questions. Okay, currently I'm working as a temporary lecturer. Yes, you are eligible to apply. I found in the student that I belong to it. Oh, okay. Okay, that is an interesting question, and I'm definitely happy to look into it. We've actually had a lot of lecturers over the past few years apply, visiting lecturers, temporary lecturers. So, and they've come back and being made permanent. So I am more than happy to look into those questions. I will drop in an email address in the chat box that you can send your queries into. IELTS scores, because right now we don't require the IELTS, you can provide it afterwards. That's not a problem. If we want to apply MSc, so it depends on the MSc program. Your university requirement will differ from the Chevening requirement. So I would recommend you look into both. When do we need to have the your unconditional offer from you? You can actually attend your university, your interview without your unconditional offer. So universities don't actually provide offers up until about April, May of the year. So sometimes we have scholars who are selected for the scholarship and waiting for their university offers to come through. So I would say some universities will give you like your offer in like January itself, but some of them will definitely take their time in kind of giving you. So it depends on when you apply to your universities as well. Okay. I have already answered this about the field difference. So I'm kind of rushing. I see 31 new messages. So I'm just going to rush through the questions that I've already answered. Does tour need to be continuous? No, you just have to have 2 years of work experience. Are there any? No, COVID has fortunately not limited any of us, restricting our subjects. But of course, if you are selecting a field that requires practical elements, I think there was a question before about whether you can take on masters that have practical components. You will have to check with the university yourself on whether those are still active. So if you are working in the medical field, obviously, I think there will be a little bit more restrictions than usual when you're undertaking those practical components. Chevening has been open for 30 years and we have no intention of closing anytime in the future. So yes, this is not just an encouragement to apply this year. This is actually definitely something I would say keep in mind, as you go forward in your career, in your life, in your professional life, as something for you to consider going forward. Okay. Okay, so can we also have a dependent visa? No, unfortunately. So one thing that Chevening does is that we only support the scholar going. We do not discourage dependents from going, but the stipend that is given all covers only for one individual. But over the years, if you are capable of kind of moving with your family for 1 year, there have been scholars that have gone with their family. If you have 2 years of work experience by November 2nd, that's not a problem. Can Isaac take the experience for, yes, you can. Isaac counts as volunteer part-time work, so yes. Yes. Can we apply even after completing PhD? It's definitely not a question I have faced before. You can apply, but we would encourage you to consider telling us why you are applying for a master's even after you have done a PhD, because we will definitely look at your undergraduate degree, your master's, and then your PhD and wonder why you're doing another master's. So if you can draw that parallel again. But I think a question that, as someone who sits on the interview panel, is something I can actually encourage you to do, because a question that will definitely come up is asking whether you are doing this for paper qualifications as a qualification, or are you actually looking for a very specific career, like to build a very specific job role? So that is that. Okay, so the other questions that are coming in, I think I've actually answered most of them. Okay, so again, last two questions, there's no age limit, and also, yes, if your road track work or your ISAP work is actually considered part-time or volunteer work, it definitely counts. So that brings us to the end of questions. And I hope this was helpful. I'm just going to drop in my, okay, so. So this is the email that we take any queries at. So the two questions that I couldn't answer on the LLM, I would encourage you to send it to this, and I'm more than happy to get our team to respond with that, with what is necessary. So if I haven't been able to, there were two very specific questions that I didn't actually know, because those are not questions we have faced before. So one was on not having a undergraduate degree, but having an LLM. So I would definitely, being a lawyer. So I would definitely send it to that. And also the other one on being a temporary lecturer. So that's from me. I encourage all of you to consider this. Chevening is not just a scholarship, it's an opportunity. We have scholars who are going bike riding across Scotland in their final weeks to kind of enjoy their time in the UK. So because this is a fully funded program, you are free from the burdens of kind of meeting your monthly income to sustain as well, and you can enjoy life as a scholar. So if you are looking to be, you know, the next generation leader, or if you are looking for opportunities, this is definitely one to consider. So thank you. Over to you, Shamli.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Ayani, for your very informative presentation and answering almost all the questions in the chat section. And of course, we have many questions, and I believe our participants have many other questions as well. They can ask that questions directly from you through your email address that you provided in your chat section. So as much as we like to take this event to answer all your questions, we are ahead of the time. So I would like to thank again Ms. Ayani Munasinghe for her informative presentation. And now I would like to invite Ms. Dinuki to deliver the vote of thanks for this session.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I would like to take a brief moment now to thank everyone who made this event today a possibility. First of all, my heartiest thanks goes to Mr. Sachin Dulanjana, who informed us about this scholarship program and its information session, and as well as for putting us in touch with the British High Commission. And also thank you to Ms. Ayani Munasinghe today and the British High Commission for hosting this program and for sharing with us as much information as you could in this short time period, and for partnering up with the International Relations Office to put this together. I'm sure everyone would agree that it greatly benefited potential students who were present here today, and those who are interested to study in a university in the United Kingdom. I would also like to thank Professor Chevening Jinadasa and the team at the International Relations Office for organizing this event, and the club members of the International Interaction Club for sharing the message among students so that they could be here today and be informed about this opportunity. And last but not least, thank you to everyone, all of our participants who are here today. We hope that you found it to be a valuable and informative session, and hope to see you soon in another event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Dinuki. With that, we have reached the end of today's program. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, on reserving your valuable time for this webinar. We will make sure to post today's presentation in our website and our YouTube channel for future references. Keep in touch with us and have a pleasant day. Thank you very much.